This part of the day is a little different than everything else we've been talking about because there are a lot of practical issues that we've been discussing, really important, critical issues. But we all know that the election is before us, and it's only several weeks away, and then we have the summer, and everybody's preoccupied with their business and maybe hopefully with their vacations. And before we know it, October 6th is before us. So it's a great honor and I think great privilege for us to have George Smitherman kind of complete the circle a little bit from what he started and come and join us and give us a bit of a rallying charge towards that election. And I've asked and I'm honored to have Kerry Adler, the CEO and president of Skypower, introduce George. And not on the program, I'm also honored. And it's a great privilege for us to have Chris Young, the managing director of Infinity, and also board member of OSEA, to give some formal response to George. And then we're going to open up for discussion. So we have about an hour of some stars of the solar industry, and including all of us having a discussion around issues pertaining to how we're preparing for this election. I'm not going to read Kerry's long and illustrious history, but I do want to highlight a few things that are not on the bio. Besides the fact that Kerry's been at this with Skypower, which was founded in 2003, and a real pioneer in the solar industry. Maybe it's because he started so early and got the ball rolling, but Skypower has become a dominant player, not only in Ontario, but worldwide in terms of solar PV. There are 30 megawatts currently under construction, over 100 megawatts in the pipeline, and I was pleasantly surprised to hear 1.5 gigawatts in the pipeline worldwide from Skypower, based right here in Ontario. So Kerry's been at this for a while, real veteran. It doesn't mean that Infinity is not, but Chris is here, and Infinity has all kinds of, I don't know the whole story, but it's 4 gigawatts? Okay, 4 gigawatts, based in Belgium. But here in Ontario, 30 megawatts under construction. So it's, without any further ado, it's a great honor to introduce Kerry, who will introduce George Smitherman. Thank you, Kerry.
I never get those numbers right. Thank you, and it sounds like everybody had a really nice day today. I wish I could have been here for a lot more of it. And I gotta say, I mean, when I met Jacob, I guess it was a little over a year ago when he told me what he was starting, I was a little surprised, because starting a solar network when you have CANCIA, you have CanWIA, and you know, someone coming from the United States to take an initiative, it only speaks accolades to Jacob, his determination, and more importantly, his support for what it is that we are doing. I know this cannot be a very profitable venture. I think it's an effort on his part, and to see this all pulled together. So let's just give a warm round of applause for Jacob. So Jacob, I'm here to introduce George, but I just want to say one or two things about Jacob. Jacob reminds me of an entrepreneur who just doesn't give up. And in face of what we are all looking at today, which is an election around the corner where our very industry is at risk, it's those types of entrepreneurs, those types of leaders that really make a difference. And I think that Jacob is really here today making a difference for each and every one of us. And I'm proud to be able to introduce our keynote speaker for tonight, which is George. George and I go a ways back. I have to say I have this document which is probably 2 pages thick of George's background. I don't need to read it because I have it memorized, but most of you will recognize George from his Ministry of Health, his long service to politics over 30 years. He's a man of the people, and he is known throughout this community and throughout the world now as a result of one thing. Not that he's just a great guy, but he's a very smart man and very determined. Everything that George has done, and every individual in this room today, is here because of one gentleman, and that's George Smitherman. I remember the days when I sat there and listened to George as he assured us that he would come out with a feed-in tariff program that was one of its kind. And today, it sets an example around the world. Each and every one of us here today benefits from the Feed and Tariff program. In every beautiful building that exists in this world, in this country, in this province, in this city, there is also always an architect, someone who takes responsibility for that. And George is the individual who not only initiated the Feed and Tariff, but ensured that it came to fruition and it got projects built. And to correct Jacob's numbers, I'm sorry, I didn't give you a lot of time, but Skypower today has over 30 megawatts, 40 actually last week operating, another 100 in construction, and 1.5 gigawatts in our pipeline. And as many of you may have heard, we won 15 contracts on the last FIT award, and we're hoping, as each and every one of you is here, whether you're a manufacturer or developer or someone just looking for work, you're hoping that this program continues. Because this is a program that means the world to many people. It creates jobs, it ensures children have a cleaner and brighter future, but more importantly, it sets an example for the rest of the world to follow. And I think it's incumbent upon us, and I know George is going to touch on this tonight, it's incumbent upon us to do everything possible to spread the good word, to let people know, to see the jobs that are being created, and let George's dream that we've all wrapped our arms around and invested billions of dollars, let that dream come to reality, and let's ensure that this program is continued for generations to come, so our children and our grandchildren can breathe the clean air and not have to worry about the dirty coal. Please give a warm welcome to the architect of the world's most progressive Feed and Tariff program, George Smitherman.